Hello friends, welcome to Mary and Molly Show. I'm Mary. I'm Molly. Friends, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead do that now and click that bell so you can receive immediate notifications of our new weekly posted video. Today's story is about little Doris. Little Doris always thought she is right and mother is always wrong. She thought she knows everything. Well, in today's story, because of her disobedience, she loses something that is very important to all of us. I couldn't even imagine life without it. So she unfortunately will have to learn it the hard way in this story. But God can do miracles and He still does miracles. We'll see that in today's story. Enjoy! Doris was a little girl, just 7 years old, when a dreadful thing happened to her. She was a bright little girl and was getting along so well at school that mother was very proud of her. But Doris had one fault. She always wanted everything her way. No matter what mother said to her, sometimes she would say, "Yes, mother," then go away and do whatever she pleased indeed. This problem came up about the way Doris went to school. Mother wanted her to go one way, and Doris wanted to go another way. So there was a good deal of trouble in the home.
Darling, I want you to stick to the main streets. Those back streets, there are boys who get very rough, and something bad can happen to you. And I don't want anything bad happen to my little girl. So make sure you stick to those main streets, you hear me?
But mother, those back streets are quite all right. I've looked down them so many times, and they are almost always empty. It would save me such a lot of time if I could go to school that way.
It wouldn't take more than 5 minutes altogether. And I'd rather you take a little longer to get there and be safe.
Well, I don't see why I shouldn't go that way.
Maybe not, but I want you to keep to the main streets. You hear me?
Doris, pouting a little, went off to school. And because mother's words were fresh in her memory, she went to school the long way round. But in the afternoon, when she was coming home, she began to think that she was right, not mother.
I can't see why Mom doesn't want me to go home the short way. Mom just doesn't understand. If she were a little girl, as tired and hungry as I am, she'd take the shortcut. I know she would.
So she argued with herself until she felt convinced that the shortcut would be quite all right this afternoon. It was. There was hardly anybody in the streets, and feeling greatly pleased with her little self, Doris arrived home safely. But she didn't tell mother which way she had come. The next afternoon, it was just the same, and the next, and the next. Doris smiled to herself as she thought how frightened mother had been about the back streets. She just doesn't know about them, she thought. But still, she didn't tell mother what she was doing. Then one afternoon, it happened. The very thing mother was afraid would happen. As Doris walked home this time, she noticed a group of boys outside a candy store. Since they were playing together quite happily, she did not give them another thought, not until she came close enough to see them clearly. Then she saw that they were playing a rather rough sort of ball game as they ran it up and down the sidewalks. Not having a ball, these boys were throwing old tin cans, rotten cabbages, and tomatoes. In fact, anything they could pick up. Suddenly, they spied Doris, who had moved for safety to the opposite side of the street. Get her! And they began to throw things at her just as hard as they could. Doris began to run, but it was no use. The boys could run as fast as she. Soon they were chasing her down the street like a pack of wolves, each one hurling at her whatever he could pick up, all the time shouting, "Hit her! Hit her!" Poor little Doris could not get away, and soon her pretty dress was a terrible sight. Of course, nobody meant to hurt her, but suddenly she gave a scream and clutched her throat and fell over into the street. The boys crowded round, wondering what had happened.
She's bleeding. Someone must have thrown a rock.
Somebody had, but no one would say who. And after all, what was the use of bothering about that now? The mischief had been done. They tried to get Doris to say what was the matter, but she didn't reply. She couldn't. Then the boys became really frightened, and one of them ran for the policeman. He picked Doris up in his strong arms and carried her home.
Doris! What has happened? What's the matter? Doris, are you all right?
Still, Doris could not speak. Mother, talking to her all the time, took her indoors, bathed her throat, but Doris never said a word. She seemed to be trying to speak, but couldn't. Now Mother became very much frightened and took her to the doctor. When he examined her, he said that the stone had struck her voice box and that she will never be able to speak again. Some days later, they both went to see the specialist, and he said just what the doctor had said. They came away from his office feeling very, very sad. Doris would never be able to speak anymore. Do you wonder that when Mother was alone, she cried and cried? And well, she did. And Doris thought, oh, how often and how foolish she had been not to take Mother's advice. What a price she had paid for her disobedience. Months passed. The wound on Doris's throat healed, but Doris was still unable to say a word. By this time, Mother had begun to believe that she would never hear the sweet voice of her little girl. But then one day, there was a knock at the front door. Mother went to open it, found a man selling kids' books.
Good afternoon. I'm selling Uncle Arthur's bedtime stories. They are wonderful books. Would you be interested?
No, thank you. Not today, thank you.
But they are children's books. You maybe have a little boy or a little girl?
Then Mother thought of Doris and invited the man to step inside.
Well, all right. Come on in.
As soon as the man saw little Doris, he brought out some of his books, which included Uncle Arthur's bedtime stories, and began talking to her about them. He asked Doris what she thought of the pictures, but there was no reply. Surprised, he turned to Mother, but she merely put her fingers on her lips and shook her head.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't understand. Isn't there any hope?
None at all. We have tried every doctor, every specialist that we know.
There is someone else who might help.
Who is it?
The great physician. Have you tried Jesus?
No, we haven't.
Would you mind if I were to ask him?
No, of course not. If you wish.
So the stranger got down on his knees beside Doris and prayed, oh so simply, that Jesus in his great love would make her better and give her back her voice if he so willed. A surprise awaited him when he returned a week later. As he approached Doris's house, he saw a little girl running to meet him as fast as her little legs could carry her.
My dear, do I really hear you speak?
Oh, yes, yes. It happened just as you left. I ran after you to tell you, but you were too far away.
There were tears in all their eyes as they talked of this wonderful thing that had happened and thanked the lover of children for what he had done for little Doris. Thank you friends for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead do that now and click that bell so you can receive immediate notification of our new weekly posted video. We hope that you were encouraged by this story, and don't forget that God still answers prayer now. He does. So whatever you're going through, or even in our situation now, we need to pray for our country and our president. This is now the time to pray more than ever. Prayer has power. God still answers prayer. Amen. Friends, don't forget to like, share, and comment. See you next time. Bye.